Get your life, get your life, get your life. Baby, I got my why you can serve my mind. Baby, feeling me, that's why they killing me. Lady, get your life. Get your life, get your life, get your life. Baby, I got my why you can serve my mind. Baby, feeling me, that's why they killing me. Lady, get your life. Run up when you see me, no disguises. Keep that thing with me, cause I don't do surprises. J Chanel, show and tell, all facts, no lies, trick. Get your life, cause I'm the type to come to it that mind quick. Eyes on me, what you care for? Watching me, baby, care for. If you ain't a fan, where the cameras? Hide in the back with the bellboys. My circle so restricted. Hands raised like it's your religion. When I sleep, pay close attention. Fake friends out here pretending. Get your life, get your life, get your life. Baby, I got my why you can serve my mind. Baby, feeling me, that's why they killing me. Baby, get your life. Get your life, get your life, get your life. Baby, I got my why you can serve my mind. Baby, feeling me, that's why they killing me. Baby, get your life.
Focus there.
Watch them cause they after me like a pot of gold. I'm not for play, ask Keisha if you don't know. I'm a little bit cray-cray, approach me, you better be right. If you don't come correctly, you can catch these cans tonight. Eyes on me, what you care for? Watching me, baby, care for. If you ain't a fan, why the cameras? Hide in the back with the bellboys. My circle's so restricted. Hands raised like it's your religion. When I sleep, pay close attention. Fake friends out here pretending. Get your life, get your life, get your life. Baby, I got my why you can serve my mind. Baby, feeling me, that's why they killing me. Baby, get your life.
Get your life.
Get your life, get your life, get your life. Baby, I got my why you can serve my mind. Baby, feeling me, that's why they killing me. Baby, get your life.
Get your life, boo.
Alrighty there. Good morning, good evening, good night, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. What's going on with y'all down in the listening lounge, as I like to call it there? Black Hawk and Char Willie. Give me a 1 or a 2 if you folks can hear me. Give me a 1 or a 2 here. I ain't gonna hold. There it is right there. We got a 1 or a 2 up off in this camp. Y'all see what we're gonna talk about today. Well, I tell you, the level of disrespect that they show this vice president of ours, Vice President VP Harris. My goodness, folks, can you believe that I'm spending a Sunday afternoon, 12:19 on a Sunday afternoon to talk, to have a chat about the Vice President of the United States, whether she's having a fake country accent or not. Now, a lot of y'all already know that I'm from South Carolina, and every once in a while, you will hear my country twang come out. There's no doubt some folks might think that from when they hear me speaking on the phone that I might be from up north from time to time. I get that. But after you get around me enough, when you hear me on the radio, when you hear me public speaking, or when you hear me on this particular platform, sooner or later, you gonna hear that country twang in me come out. And that goes for just about anybody that lives in the South. The folks from Louisiana, they have a certain dialect. The folks from Chicago, they have a certain dialect. The folks from Oakland, they have a certain dialect. But as a black person, we all know that. But you got these folks over here on Fox News, aka the name Peter Doocy. Doocy is what they should call him, because this motherfucker will and do say anything to try and get up under folks' skin. So much so, last week, ladies and gentlemen, the man sat in the White House press brief and asked the White House press secretary why Vice President Kamala Harris is using a country accent. First, it was she's not doing interviews. First, she's not talking to the press. Then it was she's not telling us her policies. Well, excuse me, let me back up. First, she wasn't black enough. Remember that? Donald Trump started that rumor. Then she was running from the cameras. Then she was running from the press. Then she was being handled by a team of handlers that was telling her what to say. Now, because they have nothing else to hang their hat on, now she's so deep into fake being black. Now she's adding a country black accent to it. Why is this so important to these folks? Well, I got a cat named Benjamin Dixon. It's going to help us out. It's going to help me out explain this. First of all, let me show y'all folks what this dude said. Okay? Let me move this out the way here. Let me move this. Let me get this out the way here. I got to slide up here. I need a damn secretary, man. How's everybody doing on this Sunday? Hope everybody's well. Let's see. There we go. Let me put this here. Okay, here we go. Y'all check this out.
Why does the vice president have what sounds like a southern accent?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well,
I mean, this is...
she was talking about unions in Detroit using one tone of voice.
Is this something that you
think... Same line...
Okay, Peter,
that she used the same line in Pittsburgh, and it sounded like she at least had some kind of a southern drawl.
I mean, do you hear the question that you're... I mean, do you think Americans seriously think that this is an important question? They care... You know what they care about? They care about the economy. They care about lowering costs. They care about health care. That's what Americans care about.
So,
that's what they want to hear.
This is something...
They care about, your colleague just asked me about, basically we talked about, went back and forth about democracy and freedom. That's what they care about. I'm not even going to entertain some question about the president. It's just, hearing it sounds so ridiculous.
Well, but hearing it is...
The question, I'm talking about the questions is just insane.
Is that how she talks in meetings here?
I'm just... Peter, we're moving on. We're still moving around. Go ahead, Anita.
Thanks. Starting with Ukraine and this.
Absolutely right. That's exactly what she should have done. She shouldn't have entertained that bullshit, because that's just what that was. And folks, let me ask you something. Why would these folks at Fox News and mainstream media, to some extent, why would they press so hard to get right, Shar? Right. Why would they try so hard to put a divide between us as black folks, especially when it comes to the vote, if our vote doesn't mean anything? But the thing about that comment that Peter Doocy made, you can go to the YouTube streets, folks. You can go to black YouTube streets and have black men and black women ask that very same question. Am I lying? You can go to right now to several of these so-called mainstream big time YouTubers and see that very same question as it posed as, yeah, he's right about that. She is trying to use a country accent. No, she's not. I'm from the country, folks. And that is not a country accent that she is using. I'm from the country. I'm purposely speaking. I like Mr. Dixon's going to tell you later on. I could get around my real folks, and you folks would have no idea what I'm talking about. I could go to some places in Charleston, in North Charleston, and have a conversation with some folks that y'all would have no idea that we are saying. But we do. That ain't country. That ain't country. But we're going to take a look at what this guy, Peter Doocy, and so many of the folks over at Fox News, that they was holding news streams about this. See, I told y'all, she's fake. And it's all a divide and conquer. That's what they do, folks. Let me go find enough stupid black folks to repeat this. And that's exactly what's happening. They're finding enough ignorant black folks to repeat this, because that's how it infiltrates us. Instead of kicking this to the curb, instead of burying this in the sand where it should be, you can go over to some of these YouTube black men streams and hear them. I guarantee you, BGS has said it. I guarantee you, what's his name? Angry Man has said it. I guarantee you, what's that guy's name? The Chaotic Truth has said it. I guarantee you, you've had some of these others. Charles Faulkner. I guarantee you, some of these black YouTube content creators have used this very content to say that she is a fake black woman. What's his name? AB Media. Guarantee they have. And the sad thing about it, I'm gonna call some names out. I used to follow this girl called Michi X, black lady. I was on her side for a little while, but then I started listening to her. I gotta ask you, Michi S, what the fuck are you mad at? How could you say that you're empowering the black community when you're literally holding stream after stream after stream trying to discredit this black woman? You as a black woman trying to discredit not the policies, almost her intelligence, just like they are. Again, if you have policy differences against Vice President Harris, that's one thing. But to attack her character, to attack her being, to attack her as a person, you foul for that. But anyway, folks, let's move on. I'm not going to hold you all day. Let's move on to Dr. Benjamin Dixon. Actually, he's a pastor, Benjamin Dixon. Let me slide this back here. Let me go back and start from the beginning, all right? Let me go back from the beginning because I was previewing it a little bit earlier. So right here, folks, here's he'll give you his own introduction. Here we go. Something happened here. All right. I think we got it on track now. Here's stuff again. All right. Let me add this to the screen one more time.
First podcast back publicly in some time. So hello and welcome to all of you. It's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you without a dope beat to step to. Sorry, I digress. Let me come back to politics. But I need to weigh in on a couple of things here. And I have a new segment that I want to toss your way. It's probably going to be a series of YouTube shorts dealing with the real Christians of MAGA. I think it's really worth looking into the people who are screaming the loudest about their religion. My religion, I'm a Christian. I'm a pastor. But the people who are screaming the loudest on social media about how important their Christian values are and how they should impose those Christian values on the rest of the world, I mean, they left a pretty big evidence trail that they're anything but good people. Notice I'm not saying that they're not actual Christians. I don't believe in the no true Scotsman fallacy. They're Christian. Yeah. I mean, God can save anybody, right? They're Christians, but they are absolutely some of the most disgusting people on the face of the planet, these MAGA Christians. So stay tuned for that. I have to weigh in on so many other stories that are going on with the breaking news about the Department of Justice unsealing an indictment that implicates.
Just let me hit on that just for a second, because he's going to gloss over that and going to move on to the main topic. But he's absolutely right. You hear so many times, you hear these folks using their religion. I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. But then in the same light, you hear them, especially on the abortion issue, they'll agree with Donald Trump when Donald Trump will say that the Democrats are aborting babies at 9 months. That's not abortion, folks. But you have so many folks that call themselves Christians that will say that, repeat that. You also have these so-called Christians, as we saw just here this weekend, this past week. School hasn't been in for 2 weeks yet, and already we have a 14-year-old killer going into a school, murdering 4 people. But you have these so-called Christians that will not do something about these AR-15 style rifles that anyone can get their hands on. These are Christians, MAGA Christians.
It's Tenet Media. Tenet Media is a media company out of Tennessee that has been paying Poole, Benny Johnson, Lauren Southern. I even think your boy Dave Rubin is on this list. We know for a fact that they millions of dollars, and that money that has been paying them was funneled through Russia, in which, you know, makes it pretty clear why they are such advocates for Vladimir Putin's policies, particularly as it pertains to American politics, yes, but our foreign policy and Ukraine. We'll just
Yeah, we'll touch on that a little bit later on, folks, after he talks about Vice President Harris and this Peter Doocy thing here. I have another clip from NPR that we're going to share with you. I'm going to share with you that's going to verify and validate exactly what Benjamin Dixon is talking about here. And this is the thing about it. There's a person, that's a seated member of Congress right now by the name of Marjorie Taylor Greene. Her every night on Russian state TV, every night on one of their news channels on Russian state TV, they feature this woman every night. So much so that members of her own party is calling her Moscow Marge. Think about that. I always thought, when I was in the military, even when I wasn't in the military, I always thought that Russia was the enemy. You got to ask yourself now, who's the real enemy? Is it Russia? Y'all remember this show? It was a fictional show called, I can't think of the name of it, but the idea was for these folks to have Russian citizens come over and infiltrate the United States, live the life of the United States, the Americans. That's what it was called. Y'all remember that? Think about it. Go back and look up the Americans and tell me if you don't believe what that show was talking about is not going on right now. These folks are literally peddling and getting Russia to pay them to put out videos that we, the public, consume, thinking it's true. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, but I'll let Dr. Benjamin Dixon continue now.
Discuss that, but I have to start somewhere rather ridiculous, if you would allow me, because Labor Day has come and gone, and I don't want it to get too far down the rabbit hole without me addressing this really ridiculous moment for MAGA, where they are insisting that Kamala Harris is not an authentic person because of what MAGA said sounds like a Southern accent. They're accusing Kamala of putting on a Southern accent, which is, of course, just part and parcel of their attempt to make her seem inauthentic, to make her seem like she's not authentically black, which is one of their number one. I think that's their top strategy at this point, is to try to paint Kamala Harris as if she is not authentically black. Let's begin with this clip of White House correspondent for Fox News, Peter Doocy, as he asked White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre about this alleged Southern accent.
A different topic. Since when does the vice president have what sounds like a Southern accent?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well,
I mean, this is...
she was talking about unions in Detroit using one tone of voice.
Is this something that
same line?
Okay, Peter.
That she used the same line in Pittsburgh, and it sounded like she at least had some kind of a Southern drawl.
I mean, do you hear the question that you're... I mean, do you think Americans seriously think that this is an important question? They care... You know what they care about? They care about the economy. They care about lowering costs. They care about health care. That's what Americans care about.
So
that's what they want to hear.
This is something...
They care about... Your colleague just asked me about... What basically we talked about, went back and forth about democracy and freedom. That's what they care about. I'm not even going to entertain some question about the president. It's just... Hearing it sounds so ridiculous.
Well, but hearing it is...
The question, I'm talking about the questions is...
Right, we're talking about the question. Just even hearing this question is absolutely ridiculous. You know, Black Hawk, you're absolutely right, my good man. He says here that white MAGA supporters are so mad at Kamala Harris, they have been giving these black bootlickers their nigger wake-up call. Then they sure have. Like the angry man, Mr. Fantastic, Thomas Sotomayor. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Don't forget to put Anton Daniels in that mix, because that's what they are. Byron, what's his name? Byron Daniels. What's that? The Congressman Byron, whatever his name is. You saw how Trump treated him. Look at my boy over there. Then they showed a clip. Again, if you haven't checked out Reese Waters, check him out. He does a whole segment on Byron, how they patted him on the head like, good boy, good boy. They're all getting their nigga wake-up call. You're absolutely right, Black Hawk. They all are. And we sure you remember this. And again, I want to thank you for sending me this clip. It just got up under my skin I'm glad that somebody out there that has a huge following picked up on this, because this is the kind of shit that they do. And folks like Angry Man, folks like Anton Daniels, folks like Tommy Sotomayor, they have big followings. So they go and they put out this bullshit, and they talk about it on stream after stream after stream after stream after stream, to where a lie don't care who tells it. Now she was just basically trying to drive home a point. But how is that news? Because of the tone of her voice. How the fuck is that news? Talk about her policies, Angry Man. Talk about, we just listened to Donald Trump the other day. Some reporter asked him about what was he going to do about child care. He had nothing. A bunch of alphabet soup. Nothing. He had nothing. Rambled. And at the end of it, the standard, we're going to make America great again. But I digress.
It's just insane.
Is that how she talks in meetings?
I'm just... Peter, we're moving on. We're so moving on.
Fox News White House correspondent Peter Doocy gets absolutely humiliated in this clip because he asked a most ridiculous question. I mean, absolutely brain dead, mind-numbingly stupid question about some accent that they believed and they accused Kamala Harris of contriving and making up. Now, this entire clip, this entire conversation is so mind-numbingly stupid. I think it's reflective of how just dumb American politics has become in the age of MAGA and in the age of conservative right-wing echo chambers. But if I could...
No, Mr. Dixon, I disagree with you. I think this is the whole of America. This is how really the majority of America thinks, whether we want to, I'll just say the white America, this is how the majority of them thinks, because this is okay. And why do I say that? Because The majority of white America watches Fox News. So they get a healthy dose of this shit every day. This is what they think. If it's virtually impossible for Vice President Harris to earn her spot, they're going to call it DEI. Before it was affirmative action. How dare you be as a uppity nigga is what white America is saying. They tried it with Barack Obama. They tried it with Shirley Chisholm. They tried it with, I'll even tried it with Jesse Jackson. But I'm sad to say Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton, they sold out. They took the money. That's my honest opinion. Money makes you do strange shit.
Pull a diamond out of this pile of feces. I would really want to show you that this exposes what MAGA really is. Before I get to that, though, I want you to hear what these people think is a Southern accent from Kamala Harris.
You better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave. You better thank a union member for vacation time.
And that, folks, is what Fox News and all of America is mad about. Because they said in that particular clip right there, she sounded like she was putting on her Southern accent. That sounds Southern to y'all. It sounded to me, honestly, what it sounded like a fucked up Louisiana accent, to be quite honest with you. It sounded like a girl from California trying to sound like a girl from, and I don't mean that in a bad way. You understand what I'm saying? You know how when we try to express how we get next to each other, that we're one and the same. That's what she was doing, and white America don't understand that. Black folks are not a monolith. All of us don't speak the same, just like y'all think we do. You got some of these dumb white folks out here that think the Underground Railroad was a train. You know that, don't you? You got some of these dumb folks that don't understand that cornrows was message traffic for us back in them days. They don't understand that. They don't understand that dialect meant a whole lot to us back in the day. Watch Roots again. And the one guy that stood up that said you got kinfolk from this tribe and that tribe. Listen to the words that come out of their mouths. That's how you recognize your kinfolk. And that's what Vice President Harris was doing. Recognizing her kinfolk. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Right, Black Hawk, they don't speak the same either. They certainly don't. Because I can tell you, I'm from Charleston, South Carolina, and I can tell you whether a white person is from Charleston, South Carolina. A white male from Charleston, South Carolina has a certain dialect. A white female from Charleston, South Carolina has a certain dialect. If I'm wrong, come down here to South Carolina and go to the Battery and listen to some of these authentic Charlestonians. Listen to them. They certainly, as they say, don't sound white. If you pick them up on their telephone, they certainly do not sound, dare I say, white. Or what they say, they don't sound like they speak the King's English.
What we know.
Now, if any of you are from the South like I am, you know that there's nothing Southern about what she just said. The only thing that Kamala Harris did in that clip was to take the word better. And instead of using a hard ER like so many Republicans like to use at the end of words that they use, she put a slight AR. She didn't even put an A. Like, she didn't say better. She said better.
You better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave.
Like, it's barely... It's not a Southern accent. Whatever it is, whatever it was, it most certainly was not a Southern accent. I
Certainly
speak
was
with a
not.
very deep Southern accent that I work very hard at kind of, trying to ameliorate. Because if I spoke to you the way I really speak, the way I grew up in the South, you would not understand 90% of what I say. You could not.
And didn't I say that earlier? You would not speak. You're absolutely right, Black Hawk. I lived in Georgia for 10 years. You might those folks that live, as they say, on the West End, they have a dialect all their own, don't they? Where if they live in Stone Mountain, they have a dialect all their own. Or if they live in East Point, they have a dialect. College Park, they have some similarities to it. But when you listen to them, are you from College Park, Shorty? You understand what I'm saying, Black Hawk? I know you do. And that's all President Harris was trying to do, trying to relate to the audience that was there. And there's nothing wrong with that. But of course, you're going to have some of these loose niggas that's going to pick up on that and say, see, I told you she's trying to be black. No, she's trying to be relatable.
Understand 90% of what I say growing up as a black man in Mississippi. You can't. So this story has become the number one thing talked about. It is still trending on Twitter. Kamala Harris, 2 days later, it's still trending about Kamala Harris's Southern accent. This is the strategy. If there is one, if there's a strategy in the stupidity here, it is an attempt to paint Kamala Harris as inauthentic and paint.
Now, before he goes into this, I want you folks to listen to this part, because this is a part that I picked up when I was when Shaw shared this with me. I was kind of buzzing through it at first, but then I stopped. This is the part that I stopped on, and this was the part to me that was important enough to say, I want to do a stream on this, because this is exactly what mainstream news and Fox News is doing to Black America. Because listen, they're touting that interview with Dana Bash as something of glory. I want y'all to go back. As a black person, do you really think the first question that Dana Bash should have asked the Vice President of the United States, what the question was, what do you think about Trump and what he said about you being a black woman? Do y'all really believe that should have been the first question? Put a one in the chat room if you think that should have been the first question. Put a one in the chat room if you think that. Put a one in the comment section if you think that should have been the first question that Dana Bash should have asked her on after months of them saying she don't do interviews. The first question. What you think about Trump saying you ain't black? Put a one in the chat room. Now let's go. Put a two in the chat room if you think it should have been a different question. Put a two in the chat. Put a two in the comment section if you think that should have been a different question. Probably get a whole bunch of twos. I guarantee I will, because it should have been a completely different question, folks. But I digress.
Kamala Harris is not authentically black more than anything else, because one of their effective strategies has been to divide the black community, not completely, but a portion of the black community who feels like because Kamala Harris is not a descendant of enslaved Africans in America, and that because she has a partial Indian heritage, that she's not authentically black. Now, never mind the fact that Kamala Harris grew up in America during desegregation and was bused from her predominantly black neighborhood to a not so black neighborhood to go to school so that they could facilitate the integration, the continued integration of school through the busing programs of the 60s. Never mind that is like the quintessential story that every black person who was born in that era came through. Never mind the fact that she went to an HBCU, Howard University, pledged in Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, one of the divine historically black sorority. And never mind all of those things, working her way up from a middle class environment. Fox News and conservatives want to continue to try to paint her as inauthentically black. Why do they want to do that? Because they understand the power and the significance of the black vote, especially when we as a black community coalesce around a candidate to the tune of 90-some%. They don't stand a chance if Kamala Harris reaches nearly those numbers, along with all of the other communities that Kamala Harris is really galvanizing. The movement around really significant because it's more diverse than.
Let me pause that right there. Think about what he said. Right now, I think in the latest polls, if you're one of those poll watchers, the latest polls say that VP Harris is almost garnered about 85%, 86 to 87% of the black vote. Not to mention with all the different Teamsters and all the different unions, all the different teachers unions, all the different white Republicans, all the different factions of what we so-called cliques that's now backing this particular woman. Take the black out of it, because as Pastor Dixon says, should we not say that all those accomplishments that she had prior to her being in this position, should we discount all of those? Did she not? Was it a cakewalk for her to graduate from Howard University, as they call it, one of the Divine Nine? Was it a cakewalk for her to become a prosecutor in one of the most crime-ridden cities in the world at some point in time? Was it a cakewalk for her to be chosen as the vice president of the United States, although there were other people that were qualified? Notice I didn't say women, although there were other people that were qualified. Hey, Lana Love, how you doing? Good to see you. Welcome in, welcome in. There were other people that were qualified. You get what I'm saying? So it's what I see white America doing, and what I see some of black America doing. Instead of attacking her policies, they're attacking either her credentials, which basically, again, stacked up against Trump. He has no credentials. His military credentials are far and few and far between. We know what he's best for there. His college credentials are at bare minimum at best. He's never passed a bar. He's never done anything that Vice President Harris has done. And I guarantee you, there's a whole lot of these congressmen that if you go on intelligence quotes, guarantee you they won't hold a candle to Vice President Harris. So what do they have left? Divide and conquer, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and throw the black. We got enough of these loose niggas that will go back and peddle this. That will go back and say, to see, she trying to be black. She just wants y'all vote for you because you're black. If that's what it takes, if that's all it takes to get you to vote, then vote for that reason alone. Then, if you only gonna vote because she black, then vote for that reason. Because a lot of white folks do it. Right. Again, Black Hawk, white women support. Right. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. White women support. They should have never messed with Roe versus Wade. That was Trump's fatal flaw. You can't back out of that corner. You can't put that toothpaste back in that tube. You done went around bragging enough. Now with this, and another latest stunt that Trump pulled with the visit to Arlington National Cemetery, turned it into a political ad and try to act like he didn't know. How don't you know? Nobody there told you? Of course they did. So guess what that does? The very next day that he pulled this stunt, what did the military, what did the veterans, one of the major veteran administrations do? They came out and they backed Kamala Harris. Everything he does turns to shit. But you got people willing to throw their entire careers on the line for this dude. Let's continue with Dr. Benjamin here.
any other coalition that we've seen in history. And so conservatives, MAGA, they have one strategy: to attack her in the black community, to weaken her specifically amongst black men. And how do they do that? They do that by saying, oh, she's not authentically black. And so while this clip and this question and this entire period of American politics is just mind-numbingly dumb, there's a strategy in the ignorance. They are being intentionally obtuse because they understand that this most ignorant position and question and proposition that Kamala is not authentically black, and look, ooh, she's faking a southern accent. They really believe that and their polling show this is an effective way to alienate Kamala Harris from a small subset of the black community. And if they can pick off just enough black people to say, oh, either I don't want anything to do with her because she's not authentically black, or to say I'm going to instead vote for Donald Trump, then that is their only pathway to victory. If
that is it, folks. That is their only pathway to victory. So I'll call out some of these larger platforms in the black YouTube sector, like the Me TXs, like the Angry Mans, Bot or Not, like the Anton Daniels, shade at the vice president just because of her color or just because she's a woman. You're doing the bidding of these folks because that's what they want you to do. Again, if you have policy differences with, and I'll speak to Michi X on this one. If Michi X, if you have policy difference against the vice president, that's one thing. That's a legitimate gripe. But when you start getting into, see, I told y'all she ain't black. I told y'all she was giving money to the migrants saying fuck black folks. No, she's not. Vice president can only do so much. The vice president, again, folks, is there more at the behest of the president. The vice president is there as a tiebreaker just in case the Senate ends up in a tie. She, at this particular time, because she is the vice president, has a dissenting vote, the tie-breaking vote. Other than that, the vice president's job is to, again, what should have happened on January 6th, is to just read what the states they already decided on. That's her job, though. That would be his job. But now, as we see, we got black folks following the lead of white folks. So what has she done in the White House? It's not she. It's what have they done. And their record right now is impeccable. The record of the Biden-Harris administration is impeccable. Sure, it has flaws. But compared to the Trump record, compared to the Bush record, unprecedented low unemployment rates, the CHIPS Act, the Stamps Act, we would have had some form of immigration, but because Donald Trump figured that would have hurt his chances for re-election, scrap that. Don't vote for it. Let me read this comment right here. So it says, now some ninjas say that they had more money under Trump. These ninjas think money gave Trump. I know, and right, and it was not Trump. But again, Black Hawk, those folks won't look. They won't do research. They only listen to those echo chambers. They only go to their local favorite YouTube creator and just believe what that YouTube creator told them instead of doing their own research. Let's continue here. And right, Shaw, let me read this before we continue. The powers that be was going to have the migrants, no matter who it was the president. You're absolutely right, Shaw. Whether it was a whether it was a Democratic or whether it was a Republican, the migrant situation is here to stay. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, the migrant situation is here for the next president too, probably for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 presidents. You know why? Because immigration is what this country was founded on. Where do you think them boys came from?
There's anything that happened in that clip, you see Kamala Harris taking and borrowing from the black preacher tradition, the rhythmic pattern, the repetition to make a point stick. And that point stuck quite well. Whether or not you're in a union, you better thank a union.
You better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave. You better thank a union member for vacation time.
You better thank a union, because that's why you can get full-time pay with only 40 hours a week instead of 70 hours a week. You better thank a union for any number of the benefits that you got, whether or not you were ever part of a union. That is the repetition and the pattern of the black preaching tradition that politicians have been borrowing for years.
Nobody complained when Bill Clinton was on Arsenio playing a fucking horn. Nobody complained about that. Nobody. But all of a sudden, she ain't black enough. So let's find something else to say she ain't black enough about. And Black Hawk, you said it earlier. Trump ain't black. But he could convince enough of y'all folks that I'm black like y'all, because you know why? I got indicted 34 times. So I'm like y'all. And some folks, black folks, found that as a badge of courage, because Trump said he like us. And he ain't like me. I don't have no felonies hanging over my head. How about y'all? Any of y'all got any felonies hanging over your head? He not like us. Kendrick Lamar said it best. But again, authentic. They talk about being authentic. Is Trump authentic? Really?
But at the end of the day, we're dealing with very ignorant times that are being precipitated by very intentionally ignorant and obtuse people who see a strategy in dumbing down American politics such that a ridiculous question can be asked by a White House correspondent of the White House press secretary. And the press secretary did exactly what should be done in every instance like this. Next question. We'll be back with more of the Benjamin Dixon Show right after this.
That's right. She did exactly what she should have done. Shut it down.
10 toes deep, flower child from the turf. I never switch sides like.
That's exactly what she should have done. Shut it down. But again, this particular quote, this particular has life, because we can go to our local YouTube streets and find that somebody was saying that, see, when you put Vice President Harris on the spotlight, she can't produce. She needs handlers. Is that true? I don't see Vice President Harris needing handlers for anything. I think the woman is quite smart, if you ask me. I wouldn't want to sit down and debate this woman unprepared, because you know Donald Trump is not prepared. He's not prepared for use the German word, blitzkrieg, that's about to happen to him when he sits down in front of Vice President Harris. He's not ready for that. There's no amount of preparation that Donald Trump could have, because he himself is of low intelligence. He is the one that has a slow decline, as they say, of his cosmic, you know what I'm saying. He's slipping. He grown old. This dude think that Hannibal Lecter is a real person. Or is he that dumb not to realize that The migrants, or as they call them, he's saying that Hannibal Lecter is going to go eat him up. So he's thinking that he's including something that two words, thinking that they mean the same because they're having to deal with the migrants. That's how smart Donald Trump is. I seen this guy, a clip the other day. I seen this guy cheat at golf. Literally missed a hole twice. Should have got 2 bogeys. If you're playing golf, do you play golf with your fingers? Do you push the ball in with your hand? Nope. Enablers.
And ongoing.
So it turns out that some of the biggest names in right-wing media, Benny Johnson, Tim Pool, Lauren Southern, just to name a few, were all licensing content to a shell company that essentially was set up by Russian agents to influence American politics and America's foreign policy as it pertains to Ukraine. Now,
remember, sometime back in 2016, Donald Trump sat in front of the world and said, Russia, if you can hear me, Russia, if you can hear me, find out what happened to the 33,000 emails within 24 hours of Donald Trump saying that the Russians had hacked the DNC servers. Now, so much so, let me go to folks. I want y'all to listen to this to lend credence to what Mr. Dixon is saying right here. Okay, let's listen to this clip. Just 1 second. I need to put up here. Listen to this. This is a clip from NPR here. So you know NPR is a legitimate news organization. They're bipartisan, as they want to call it, news organization. All right.
Federal officials accuse Russia of using unwitting right-wing influencers in the United States to spread Kremlin propaganda ahead of the November election.
The Justice Department charged 2 Russian media employees in this scheme. Investigators say they helped to publish online videos that received 16 million views on YouTube and other social media platforms.
NPR's Shannon Bond covers foreign influence campaigns. Shannon, so walk us through the criminal case that the Justice Department is bringing.
Now, before we go any further with that, I want y'all to understand something. 16 million views. Now, remember, there was a point in time, y'all remember Just Pearly Things? We all questioned, how was she able to get away with bringing a known white supremacist on her channel and it stayed up? Hey there, Queen Cascade. Good to see you. Good to see you. It's been a minute. Always nice, lights coming over to your channel. It's nice and you get to thinking over there, folks. If you have not gone over there, folks, go and check it out. Go check out the channel over there. Go check out the channel. Definitely a channel. Put your link down there in the But as I was saying there, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like I just again tried a new internet service provider here. So again, I live out in the country under some trees. So this is the third provider that I've gone through, and I still get you still get those dead zones from time to time. So I'm still going to get them dead zones, whether I'm on the radio or whether I'm here on YouTube. I'm not moving no time soon, and I'm damn sure not cutting down these 100-some-old-year-old trees out here in my backyard, okay? So with that, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, again, this brings me to the point. You're talking about Just Pearly Things. You're talking about, you wonder how some of these content creators that have nothing to speak of have so many views. Look at some of their content. And go look at some of the news that they try to disseminate. Right. He thinks that Hannibal Lecter is real, Queen. He really does. He thinks he's a real person. Again, the Black Hawk, listen, I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but, if it walked like a duck, if it quacked like a duck and it got feathers, what is it? It's a duck, right? It is a duck. Now, again, you go over to Angry Man's channel and you listen to his content. He is more, as I say, now, I'm not the only one that says this. He's more of a glorified, as you say, gossip columnist. So why would folks go over to continue to listen to him? Or like Anton Daniels, the Money Monday. It always had turned into, I'm mad at that woman show. Instead of calling it Money Monday, they should call it, give me a minute, I'm about to be mad at a woman show. Because on any of Sharon Bracey, he's another one. Sooner or later, somebody gonna come up being mad at a woman. Sooner or later, you go over to Bomb Cherry's channel, somebody gonna come up and got something bad to say about a woman. That's just the status quo. But again, going back to Jess Pearly, think how was she able to get away with Nick Fuentes on her channel on YouTube? A known white supremacist, a known Holocaust denier, a known election denier, and had a sit-down, comfortable interview with him. So much so the black folks thought it was okay, thought it was cool. See, I told y'all, we bridging the gap. We bridging the gap. Look, she's one of us. She gonna take us to the promised land. Remember that BGS? This dumb nigga you said had a whole stream of talk about Just Pearly gonna take us to the promised land. Remember that? Now you gotta ask yourself, where did this boom and Just Pearly come from? From a woman who sat around talking about dresses and dating. All of a sudden, she's in the political sphere. Another woman, a white woman, got her own podcast. I reported her talking about broke ass niggas. Had a whole stream about it. She went from a stay-at-home cooking in the kitchen mama to a political commentator on YouTube. And on another platform. Speaking of another platform, I'm getting off subject here a little bit. Someone sent me a link to Rumble. I see why a lot of y'all niggas go to Rumble. You know why? Because Rumble will let you say anything. It don't make no difference. It's loose. It's real loose niggas over there, boy. I tell you what, if I went over there and did a loose nigga roundup, I'd be over there for 24 hours rounding y'all niggas up. Y'all don't say anything over there. So much so, I think someone sent me a thing saying that they after the free speech over there. No, they're trying to clean up Rumble too, just like they did YouTube. They got rid of you loose niggas on Obsidian. What's his name? Taz Exclusive. I don't know what channel you're on now, but unless somebody looking for you, they're not gonna find you no more. Daryl Long. Unless you sneak up on somebody's channel, Tommy Sotomayor, Cynthia G. The list goes on of the loose niggas that YouTube has cleaned up. They're over there on Rumble now, but the same shit. And that's another good question, Blackhawk. Listen here. If you folks know enough about me, I know again we're going off topic here, but I'm glad somebody finally brought this up in one of my streams. I didn't want to bring this up, but listen, I pay over $1,000 a month to broadcast on a radio station of mine. I come to YouTube, and if I start broadcasting, and within an hour, I get something that says your stream will be muted or shut down because you are playing copyrighted music. I see this nigga 30, 40 minutes playing copyrighted music. How do I know? SMG, all these different Sony music and BMG and all those. I pay a fee to you to broadcast. Angry Man don't pay no damn fee. He ain't got no broadcast license. So why is YouTube allowing you to do this? Something going on. And I got another tip for you folks over there on TikTok and Instagram that's broadcasting folks' music, using folks' music without paying for it. They're about to put a screeching halt to that pretty soon too. So all y'all lovely ladies over there that's playing Prince and Michael Jackson and rap music and all that while you sat around prancing in your next to nothings, you better start creating your own damn music, because they about to put a stop to that. BMI, ASCAP, they about to put a stop to that shit. Angry Man. You see, other than the song that I use to open up with, I'll stick with Samuel Sanders. You know why? Because he allows me to use that particular song in my videos without receiving a copyright strike. Whereas if I might use a song from, say, the other day when I was broadcasting, 6 of the 10 songs that I played, I got a copyright strike for. They didn't shut me down, but what they said was that my video could be blocked in some countries, even though I pay almost over $1,000 a month in broadcasting fees. That's right. But let's continue here. Let's get back on track. Yeah, let's get back on track. My bad.
In that clip, you heard.
Oh, I'm doing the wrong clip here. I was over here. Wrong clip. Let's go back to NPR here. See, I got
Say 2
sidetracked.
employees of Russian state media broadcaster RT secretly funded and directed the production of hundreds of these videos on social media. And the videos were often consistent with Russia's goals of exacerbating domestic divisions and undermining support for Ukraine, but without disclosing that RT or Russia was behind the videos. And officials say the reason that RT did this is that after Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, American cable distributors had dropped the channel, and it actually ended up pulling out of the U.S. altogether. And so this was a way of continuing to spread pro-Russian narratives to the American public.
So how did this alleged scheme work?
Yeah, so the indictment says these.
Well, it's easy to see how it works. Again, Obsidian doesn't have a channel, but somebody let him up on his channel. Cynthia G does not have a YouTube channel, but somebody let him up on his channel. Who's another one? How many of these YouTube? Tommy Sotomayor can't have a YouTube channel, but you see him on all these different channels. So that's how it works. That's exactly how it works.
It says these RT employees funneled nearly $10 million to this Tennessee company that goes unnamed in the indictment. But details in the indictment are an exact match for a company called Tenant Media. This was founded by Lauren Chen. She's a conservative Canadian influencer, and Liam Donovan. And they allegedly worked with the RT employees, who they knew were Russian, to recruit influencers with large audiences to make these videos.
And what are they saying?
Well, Chen and Donovan did not respond.
You heard her. To recruit folks with large audiences, all you got to do is just go in there and drop her. Somebody gives you a wrench. Angry Man gives you a wrench. Somebody comes in there and says, hey, check this out. How many of them folks down there in that particular stream going to click on that link? A whole lot of them are. Go over to Anton Daniels. He give you a wrench. You drop a link in there. How many folks going to say it must be legit? One of his mods dropped it in here. Listen, again, where are these content creators that can sit up on the stream for 8, 9, 10, 11 hours a day? I'm talking about they millionaires. They making money all hand over foot, like the Anton Daniels. How many streams could you possibly do in a day? Like the Angry Man, how many streams could you possibly do in a day? Is somebody giving you some money? And then what they'll do? Here it gonna come. Somebody gonna say, well, Bomb Cherry do streams every day. Bomb Cherry is a homemaker. She don't go to work. That woman is a grandmother. The fuck? Are you comparing yourself to somebody that's watching babies? Grown ass men that could be out being viable members of society, comparing themselves to Bomb Cherry sitting at home with her grandson talking to other folks on YouTube. So again, the question remains the same. How can they get away with it? It's easy. You folks allow them to do it. You got a big stream like Anton. You got a big stream like BGS. He drops it. How long did that nigga preach about the Moynihan report? So much so that you had folks, what's his name, Chaos? Never seen a link he didn't like, but Chaos would click on any link that you drop and then go back and do a stream about it. Am I wrong? Yeah, they do. Sure. You remember, I won't call it a disagreement, but I said, nah, I don't think you're right on that one, sure. But you were absolutely right when you said that to me some years ago. These men are jealous of the women on YouTube, and it's obvious that it is. That's an absolute fact. 2-3 years ago, you couldn't have convinced me of that. But for what I've seen over the years now, hell yeah. Some of y'all want to be women. Some of y'all want to be women. So much so that you'll dye your beard. You put on makeup and rouge and smell good before you start a live stream, and then smoke a damn cigar, smelling like all outdoors. Different strokes for different folks.
PR's request for comment. And what the indictment says is that RT employees were really pushing for these influencers to do things like share the company's videos. They got annoyed when they didn't think they were promoting them enough. They pushed for angles that echoed Kremlin narratives. So, for example, an RT staffer wanted the company to blame Ukraine for a terrorist attack on a Moscow concert hall, even though ISIS had claimed responsibility.
Now, the influencers, Shannon, who are the influencers here, and why would they do this?
Right. These are some really well-known names in right-wing circles, including Tim Pool and Benny Johnson, Dave Rubin. The indictment says...
Now, I want y'all to listen to those names right there, because tell me you have not heard those names in Just Pearlie's and what's his name, Destiny, and some of these other so-called white YouTuber spaces, because I go to them too. Those are frequent names that come up over there. So, again, how many times have you heard... some of these so-called black YouTubers mention those very same names as credible sources of their information, especially that Pool guy. I ain't talking about the Pool boy. I'm talking about the Pool guy. Whatever his name was, Peter Pool or whatever his name was, Terry Pool or whatever. A lot of them think his work is gospel. Huh.
Says they did not know about these ties to Russia. The company's founders and the RT staff allegedly told some of them that there was a wealthy European banker behind the project. But these contracts that they were offered were lucrative. According to the indictment, one influencer was being paid $400,000 a month, plus an additional $100,000 signing bonus and other performance bonuses for 4 videos a week. Several of these influencers, including Poole, Rubin, and Johnson, have put out statements saying they were victims here. They were deceived.
Now, a couple of months away from the election, Shannon. I mean, how does this all...
Always. See, there goes again. Again, you got to ask yourself, why would these guys want to... Listen, I like doing this. I really like doing videos. But I cannot see myself doing 3, 4, 5 videos a day, folks. Can't do it. I like talking to y'all, but I don't like y'all that much to do 6, 7, 8, 9 hours of videos every day, coming up with the real reason why. Or I can tell you why this happened. Money Monday here, Money Monday there, Money Monday there. See, they're always calling me in the middle or something. God damn it. Let me go ahead and continue here. Wait a minute. It got me. You see, this guy got me discombobulated again. Here we go.
In a larger pattern of foreign efforts to target American voters.
That's right. I mean, these efforts are escalating, we're hearing more and more about them. Yesterday, U.S. officials also announced that they had taken down separately a set of internet domains involved in a separate Russian influence operation. We have Iran recently blamed for trying to hack both the Trump and Harris campaigns. We have China targeting American voters, according to the intelligence communities and researchers. And a lot of these efforts so far have not been very effective when we see these kind of influence operations. What's notable about this RT video operation, it's one of the few that's actually managed to get in front of a lot of people, and it's probably because of these influencers.
That's NPR's Shannon Bond. Shannon, thanks.
Thanks so much.
Federal officials accuse Russia of using unwitting right-wing influencers in the United States to spread Kremlin propaganda ahead of the November election.
The Justice Department charged 2 Russian media employees in this scheme. Investigators say they helped to publish online videos that received 16 million views on YouTube and other social media platforms.
NPR Shannon Bond covers foreign influence campaigns. Shannon, so walk us through the criminal case that the Justice Department is bringing.
Well, officials say 2 employees of Russian state media broadcaster RT secretly funded and directed the production of hundreds of these videos on social media.
I forgot to turn I was sitting there talking to my damn self. But anyway, hundreds of these videos are on YouTube, folks. So you got to ask yourself, now you got to lend credibility to a lot of these folks when you got to ask, why are these folks so popular? Who goes to their channel? Is it really that many people in there? Is some of y'all folks getting some money up under the table from some people to be doing this many videos in a day? Because it can't be the super chats. You can't be after them twos and fews, not for 8-9 hours at a time. Can't be. As many times, listen again. No disrespect to Bomb Cherry. But hey there, Raw Talk, how you doing? How you doing? I didn't see you sneak in the back door there. Welcome in. But again, I'd never hear as anybody for a super chat. I never hear her ask for that. Again, somebody was over there mad at me the other day because I didn't get in a pissing contest with her over something that her and I didn't agree on. Oh well, move on. I don't argue with women. If that's what you choose to do, that's on you. Don't expect me to stop being me to appease you. The fuck? But again, folks, here's that some of the questions that you ask about your so-called favorite YouTube content creator, that when we say, what is the popularity? What is the lore? And they every minute they got somebody popped on the screen that you never heard of, or they're doing this, or they're doing that, or they're trying to push this idea on you. Y'all check this video out. No, Russian propaganda. But let's go back to Dr. Dixon here, Pastor.
Heard Attorney General Merrick Garland making it clear that the Department of Justice is charging 2 employees of Russia Today with violating the Foreign Agents Registration Act, saying that they participated in a, quote, $10 million scheme to create and distribute content to U.S. audiences with hidden Russian government messaging. Now, while the media company that has been identified, Tenet Media, is not named in the indictment, there's a trail of evidence that shows that this is exactly the company that the Department of Justice is implicating, as well as Tim Pool and Benny Johnson came out directly and addressed it with their own statements on social media, saying that they were victims, stating that they had no idea that the company that they were taking $100,000 per episode from was funneling money to them from Russia, despite the fact that their content was explicitly in favor of Russia. Listen to this clip of Tim.
Again, folks, there's always that, well, I didn't know where that money was coming from. You mean to tell me you think, some of you folks, and listen, there are some content creators out there that I would say, yeah, if you could get that kind of money, go for it. But for the majority of us, I would say that we're novices at this, and we're looking for a way. Even myself, folks, I'm not saying that I'm a professional at this. I know I got a whole lot to learn when it comes to being a successful YouTuber, a content creator. I know I'm dibbling dabbling in it, but you can go back through the years of me and see my progress. Angry Man still sitting up under the same motherfucking lens. But you ask yourself, how do you get 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 subs in less than a month? Number one, if you're not buying them or somebody's not providing them for you. How do you have a guy that's saying that he is a working man? You got time to be on 5 or 6 different panels in the course of a daytime. I can tell you, I don't work as hard as I used to, but I don't have time for that. I don't have time to sit up on a panel every fucking day. But you can go to some of these panels. Yeah, you can. Yeah, listen. Let me touch on that there, Raw Talk. Listen, there's absolutely nothing wrong with building your brand. If building your brand meaning that you want to advertise a little bit, but it comes to a point to look at it and say, I got no bots, then I got actual subs. Time to stop. The bots ain't working. It's still not attracting real people. Maybe I need to change my content. No matter how many folks is in this room, my content is still the same. That's like moving out of a house and bringing the same damn furniture with you. What's changed? Only the location. You still gonna put that couch right where it used to be in the other house and look good just like that. You still gonna bring that lamp. You still gonna bring that microwave. You still gonna have that throw pillow. You still gonna have that same welcome. Jesus got it. Jesus got this in your front yard.
Pool who received $100,000 per episode to do this work. Listen to his commentary on the Ukraine war.
This is psychotic. Ukraine is the enemy of this country. Ukraine is our enemy, being funded by...
Ukraine is our enemy. How many times have you heard these black content creators say that Ukraine, that we should not be helping the Ukraine? How many times have you heard Angry Man, Anton Daniels, AB, what's the guy's name? The one whose grandmother said that the Ku Klux Klan brought them turkeys for Thanksgiving. How many times have you heard these loose niggas say that very same thing, that we should not be sending aid to Ukraine? How many times have you heard Marjorie Taylor Greene say that? How many times you've heard seated members of Congress say that very same thing? Right, ABL. How many times? I thought Russia was the enemy. But if you listen to Moscow March, we should be listening to Vladimir Putin. Right. Say that again, Blackhawk. You got 50K views, but only 10 comments. Let that make sense. 50K views and only 10 people thought enough of your content to leave a comment about it. Big J, damn it, it's on the other side. Right. Again, for those of you who know, who are in the military community like me, understand that the Ukraine is one of our allies. And if they take over the Ukraine, what's to stop them from moving through other European countries? What's to stop them? What's to stop Russia? Because Vladimir Putin automatically thinks that the Ukraine belongs to them anyway. They don't see them as a sovereign country. Let's take them over. And there's enough folks here in the United States, enough content creators that's in our algorithms, folks, that press this information every day.
The Democrats, I will stress this again, one of the greatest enemies of our nation right now is Ukraine. They are expanding this war. Now, don't get me wrong, I know. You've got criminal elements of the U.S. government pushing them and guiding them and telling them what to do. Ukraine is now accused, a German warrant issued for blowing up the Nord Stream pipeline, triggering this conflict. Ukraine is the greatest threat to this nation and to the world. We should rescind all funding and financing, pull out all military support, and we should apologize to Russia.
There has been a definitive shift in...
This motherfucker said we should apologize to Russia. How do they do that at? Where do they do that at? Apologize to Russia? Absolutely right. I'm going to go back on that comment right there. And there's nothing absolutely wrong with it. If you want to build your brand, there's nothing wrong with, adding a kickstart to it. There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely, absolutely not. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with a kickstart to your, whatchamacallit. Again, they tell you, be your own, what's the old saying? Don't get high on your supply. Basically, there's some folks that fuck that up by meaning use your own product. Be your best consumer. And if you can find a better way to advertise yourself out there, even if it means, here's a quick example. When y'all see these hamburger commercials, these Wendy commercials, and these food commercials, don't that shit look good? Don't it look like when you go to Wendy's, you're gonna get the most perfect hamburger that you ever see? Because you remember the commercial when you get there and unwrap that shit from the foil, the cheese done melted all on the side, it's all on your hand now. It don't look nothing like that damn hamburger that I just saw on that picture that I got in my car to try to get. The only thing that I can say that holds its true value like that is some Krispy Kreme donuts. Now, they always look beautiful. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But anyway, let's continue.
Republican orthodoxy and Republican policy as it pertains to Russia. Many years ago, it would be unthinkable for anyone in this nation to usurp the foreign policy that has been set by the president of the United States and to do so on behalf of Vladimir Putin, specifically Russia, generally speaking. But now we have influencers, media commentators, so-called journalists who have directly aligned themselves with Vladimir Putin. And it would be one thing if their arguments were genuine, but they are extremely vapid and disingenuous. They are arguments, and they have been arguments since the invasion of Ukraine. These right-wing influencers who now we know have been receiving hundreds of thousands of dollars per episode, they have been forwarding some of the most ridiculous arguments in favor of Russia's position, essentially saying that the thing to do is to lay down your arms and to allow Vladimir Putin to just have his way with you.
What's your opinion on the solution to the Ukraine war?
Cut off the money. It's the only way you get them to the table, right? As long as, we're literally creating the oligarch class of billionaire in Ukraine with whatever's being siphoned off, whether it's Zelensky, whether it's this, while they send young men to die as cannon fodder on the front lines because they couldn't care less. My father would have been like, hey, you got like one more month of this, and if
wait a minute. As if the United States has not been doing that since the history of the United States. The average age of a soldier in Vietnam was 19. 19. 19. Y'all remember that song, Paul Hardcastle? Truth. The average age of a soldier in the United States military is 19. So what the fuck is he talking about? The majority of the what sends the United States has the United States in such an economic slump sometimes is the amount of money that we spend on this industrial war complex of ours. It takes up the majority of the how many billions of dollars we are and added to the national debt. That's where a lot of our money is being spent on, just on the military. You can put all these other social services that they want to cut, you can put all of that into the middle of military spending and not ever see it again. It's like a stick man trying to hide behind a big fat woman. You can't see him until she moved to the side. And had no disrespect, but y'all know what I'm talking about to make it a visualize for you.
You're not at the table. It's done.
Yep.
Guess what? Zelensky wouldn't have a chance if we shut it down. So he'd come to the table and they'd come up with something.
Absolutely.
And now we know with certainty that many of these individuals were being paid handsomely to hold these opinions. And whether or not they held these opinions genuinely, they were being paid to disseminate these opinions to their millions of followers across the United States of America. And it wasn't just the issue of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. It's also the issue of all of the divisive politics, the wedge issues, the issues that have been continuously destabilizing the United States of America, destabilizing our ability to maintain a healthy and functioning democracy. Vladimir Putin has had a vested interest in making sure that there are divisive voices that are destroying our democracy. We saw this exact pattern in the lead up to the invasion of Ukraine. There were right-wing influencers in Ukraine who were making money peddling Russian propaganda. And as soon as the invasion happened, those voices, like many others, got up and left and took refuge in Russia while their nation was being invaded by Vladimir Putin. This is the same MO that Vladimir Putin has been using for many, many years. We simply cannot overstate how damning this information is and how very clear it is that we have a party and an entire faction here in the United States that has been co-opted by Russia, by Vladimir Putin, for the purposes of forwarding Vladimir Putin's agenda at the expense of the United States of America. You know, and I wonder if any of the people who listen to these guys are going to really take stock, take an assessment of what they believe as a result of what their favorite YouTuber has been paid a ridiculous amount of money to tell them. Right? Do you think that these people who listen to Tim Pool are all of a sudden going to pause and reflect and say, he was being paid $100,000 an episode to tell me this. Maybe I should reconsider what I believe? No.
Hell no. It's not going to happen. How many times have I pointed out and other social media influencers on this side of me that believe that if you're a fake, if you're a fraud, that you should be pointed out? Because you can't go, listen, folks can try, you can try your damnedest to find any fraudulent information on me. I'm not a fraudulent person, but I say I stand on. If I say that I'm against this, I'm against it. If I say I'm for it, I am for it. You will not find a woman bashing episode on my channel. I get the closest that you will come to it. I did a piece on what they call the ghetto gaggers. And why I did the piece? Because she had the nerve, she had the audacity to talk about this online and then made another stream talking about y'all stay out my business. Ma'am, if you hadn't put it on the business of the YouTube, we wouldn't have a reason to talk about it. Same thing with that Jay Prince character. I warned y'all about that loose nigga, but you keep going over there. You keep going over to his channel. That loose nigga Daryl Long. I warned y'all about that nigga, but y'all keep going over to his channel so much so he can't hold a channel on YouTube, but y'all motherfuckers are on Rumble talking to him, defending that piece of shit. But you will argue with you'll call me and folks like Big J, or I'll give Sharon Bracey his flowers, or what's his name, what's the kid's name? Brownsville, or anybody else who stands up to say, hey, you're just not going to talk about black women or women in a particular way like that. Or if you got something to say about politics, whatever, at least have an argument. Or if you're going to talk about music, at least know what you're talking about. Just don't spout off somebody else's bullshit. What you heard from what Angry Man said, or what you heard from BGS said, they're easy to. They call that nigga the master teacher of what? Bullshit. Really? They call him the master teacher. Ask me anything. I want to ask you, BGS, who told you you was a master teacher? Answer that fucking question. Please do. Answer that question. But that's how information gets out, folks. It's not just Benjamin Dixon that's telling you this. I've been telling you this. One of the very first streams I've ever did on one of them old radio stations was about Donald Trump, and I said he was. I didn't use the word existential, but I said he is a threat to our way of life. I said that in 2016. I did a video in 2014, I think it was 2015, 2017, Walking While Black. And part of my commentary was that Donald Trump allowed racism to rear its ugly head again. And somebody had the nerve to say I was wrong about that. You want to talk about it now? Go back. Go look at the comments. Go find that video of mine that says Walking While Black and look at the comments. How these folks were on me about the comment that I said that racism has never been dead. It's just been dormant. It's like that brown grass outside. You think it's dead. Brown grass is still growing. It's just dormant. And all it needs is some sunlight and some water. And that motherfucker is green as all outdoors. Am I wrong? Let Dr. Benjamin. I put the link down in the I don't know how to pin it there, folks. So if you want to come up and join part of the conversation or add something to it, the link is down there in the chat room. You feel free to grab it and come on up.
What is same that we call the Republicans fronted with they change things. I just embarrassingly admit been duped that they have been suckers for Vladimir Putin paid propagandists. Vladimir Putin has invested wisely and it has paid off.
That's a perfect comment right there. What's up there, APTV? How you doing, good brother? Appreciate it. Good to see you. Good to see you. Perfect comment right there, Queen. Master teacher, BS. You're absolutely right, because that's what it is. Be careful of that mentality, folks. It absolutely is. That's a very charisma in the wrong hands is a dangerous motherfucker. You might end up like Jim Jones. You might end up like them folks who thought they were going to catch a spaceship to go to get on up out of here. And all they found was them dead with black warm-up suits on their Nikes. Remember them? Remember that cult? Remember the Charles Manson cult? Remember them? So be careful there, BGS. Good point there, Queen Cascade. How you doing there, APD? Hey, folks, again, if you haven't already, I suggest you check out my man APTV's why can't I get this word right today? Content. I got it. There you go. Check out his content. AP, drop your link down in the room if you would like to. Appreciate it. And for all you folks that have channels, feel free to drop your link down at any time. This is what I like to call black media at its best, folks, because that's what we have to do. Because you have folks like Midas Touch, TYT Networks. You see them building a media conglomerate. It has to start from somewhere. I've been in this business, this media business, almost 10 years now. I know where it came from, and I know where it's going. So for those that the one question I always get, when especially folks that I know, they always ask me, "You making any money over in your radio station?" First of all, that ain't none of your fucking business. Second of all, if you're in for it for the money, don't waste my time anyway. I'm out here to pass them some information on that some folks might not get. Media is one of the most powerful mechanisms that we have. Radio, TV, and now social media. Classic R&B jams and the Chop Shop. We're in the know. I got great people around me. Ain't that right, Queen? Ain't that right, Shaw? Ain't that right, APTV? I got great people around me. I wouldn't have it any other way. Ain't that raw talk? I got great people around me. If you see me in your chat room, Bomb Cherry, if you see me in your chat room, I like your content. I don't hang around just anybody. I don't put myself in the presence of just anybody. Prism, Big J, Classic Ruby, Saru and Gray when he did streams. The same circle that you have out here, folks, of same circle of friends that you're out here in public with, it should be the same circle of friends. You got to keep them small. You got to keep them small. It's just like that, because too many people, as that old saying goes, too many cooks spoil the stew. Look at how some of these so-called again, no disrespect to Sharon Bracey, but his monologues are great. But as soon as he started letting loose niggas up on the panel, all hell breaks loose. This might be risky. Another one. Hey, Yeti Black, how you doing, good brother? Appreciate you. Huh? All these folks. Y'all know I'm speaking truth. And that's why the only thing they come at me is, well, Mr. Music, you old, and you ain't no such thing as outdated being old. Because some of y'all motherfucker cherish your 25-year-old Cadillac, your 50-year-old Cadillac. Some of y'all cherish that. But you're quick to push a brother with some knowledge to the side or a sister with some knowledge beside based on because they're older than you. Let that make sense. I'm Angry Man. I'm BGS. This nigga, the first time meet me, the first thing that he had to do in his stream, he had 38 minutes of talking about my age and never met me. Never met me. Nothing about what I said. Nothing about what I said. Fuck the content. Absolutely right. Truth is truth. You don't like it, you don't like it. I'm not here to hold your hand. I'm not here to be your wet nurse. And folks will tell you, when you see DJ Music up on the panel, oh, you done said something and then got my gander up. I got to come up and straighten that up. I wish I would have had time the other day listening to Bomb Cherry and a few of these folks that was up there talking that absolute nonsense over there. Sharon Bracey over there talking absolute nonsense. There's another guy, I see him from time to time. Eat a man. You need to go sit down somewhere, man. Some of y'all folks really have no concept of I think y'all just like to talk to hear people. My pops used to call it idle chatter. Me and my brothers and sisters and my family and the folks around us, we don't do idle chatter. And folks ask me all the time, how can you no, I don't do this every day. No, ma'am. I ain't no way in hell I could sit up on a stream every day. Panel hopping, going from panel to panel, arguing with women, hoping that some woman will say something that you found it so egregious that you got to hop up on the panel and call her every name except the child of God. You got one dude, I'm calling out names, so I don't care, because I ain't Bernie Mac said, I ain't scared of you motherfuckers. You got another man called a Peso Man. I thought he was a legit brother. Come to find out, you running around here stalking women. You out here calling women out their name because they don't want nothing to do with you. I was listening to you over on Big J's panel the other day. I'm not guessing at what you are. I heard you. I heard you over there on Rumble, how you disrespect black women. I know this wasn't that it wasn't turned into that type of stream. It turned into politics, but it all comes down to the same thing, folks. You be careful of who you listen to. Misery loves company. If you can find a content creator to get 3, 4, 5, 6K views and he has no content, ask yourself, why am I over here? Ain't nobody talking but me. Nobody. Ain't nobody got nothing to say. Ask yourself, why is it good? And another good point that my man brought up earlier, how is it that if I play a little bit of music on my stream, if I'm not one of those so-called major content creators, how is it if I play a little bit of music on my stream that belongs to somebody else, I get shut down? But Angry Man can sit on his stream for half hour, 45 minutes, playing other folks' music. Yeah, the Queen Cascade, I hate to say it, I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't heard it out of his own mouth. But again, I think Rumble, is the degenerate part of is where the Island of Misfits. I always wondered where the Island of Misfits was, and I found it on Rumble. Because the shit that you can't say here on YouTube that you will get strike for, you can say it over there on Rumble. Yes, you can say it over there, Rumble. So that's where the degenerates, the degenerate niggas is at now. The derelicts. That's where they're all at now, over there at Rumble. That's where the Daryl Longs are at. That's where the Peso Mans are at. That's where the Taz exclusives are at. That's all. That's where all they're at. Again, folks will say, "Well, how'd you include Taz in there?" Because Taz is one of them guys that will curse a woman out. Correct me if I'm wrong. Since that's what we're talking about, I'm not excluding his good content, but one off shit will fuck up 20 attaboys. Won't it? Let's let Doc finish up here right quick. Like, I don't know how much more this is left.
Because now you have half of the United States of America, or at least those who participate in politics, who think that Ukraine is the enemy, who think that Vladimir Putin is their savior, who align first and foremost, not America first, but Putin first. Millions of people who hang on these idiots' every words, now recycling all of those same talking points. And they're saying it now on social media. These followers are doggedly attacking anyone who holds an opinion differently than what Vladimir Putin has paid their favorite YouTuber to tell them.
I wish that I could say that the good Reverend was wrong, but he's absolutely not, folks. We hear it ourselves. We're witness to it. We've heard the Just Pearlies. We've heard the what's the guy's name? The racists. We've heard the Charlie Kirklands. We've heard all these folks repeat. We've even heard it in the hallowed halls of Congress. We've heard these folks repeat Russian disinformation, all at the behest of who? Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. Now folks was asking, what is the infatuation? Donald Trump has wanted to be a dictator. That's why he followed Kim Jong-un. That's why he looks at Netanyahu. That's why he looks at Putin with such reverence, because he wants to be like them. Well, folks say, well, as the president of the United States, he can only do 2 terms. You think if Donald Trump got back into office, you would think that all the hell he raised about the first election, you think he would go quietly into the night on the next set of election if he got reelected? The man wants to be king. Well, you say, well, he'll die off eventually. But what does a king do, folks? A king appoints a successor. He was trying to do that with J.D. Vance, but J.D. Vance is dumb as a fucking rock. He fit the mold, but he didn't realize that J.D. Vance came with all that motherfucking garbage. Humping couches, dressing up in drag. I thought the Republicans was the party, the party of Reagan, the party, the Christian party, the party of family values. Even Nick Fuentes disavowed. Nick Fuentes got mad at Trump when he picked Vance as his running mate. What's the guy's name? The little kid that ran around killing folks in Minnesota. He said fuck Donald Trump. Because why? Their racist heritage, folks, will not let their eyes open far enough to see an Indian woman, a black woman, a Chinese woman, or any other race is not equal to, but always will be lesser than, especially when it comes to a woman. This is the whole of America. Whether y'all want to admit to it, whether you want to say it, it's not. If people can say that racism is dead, we heard liver lip, big lip, booty lip Tim Scott talking about there's no such thing as racism in America anymore. Are you out your fucking mind? WSB, again, folks, if you don't believe me, go look at the footage that WSB, the news organization in Atlanta, put out before we realized that was just another crazy ass white kid out there shooting up folks. They tried to make it seem like it was a black kid. Remember a couple of weeks ago, there was a kid that killed another kid, and there was folks calling for the death penalty. There was folks saying that they treat him as an adult. But this last school shooting where the so-called kid was 14 years old, that's how the news is reporting it. He's misguided. He has mental issues. And it's about damn time that they start arresting these parents of these fucking juvenile delinquents that they're raising. I think that's what we need to start doing, folks. The same way they label our children, we need to start labeling their children. They want to label our children as inherently violent. Let's start calling their children out for what they are. School shootings is something that black kids do not do. But we have a history of white children going into schools, shooting folks up just because of what their parents believe. So it's about time they start arresting some of these derelict-ass fucking parents. Dylan Roof. What's the other? Another Dylan Klebold. Remember the Columbine shooting? You gonna tell me that their parents didn't know that these kids had all these fucking guns and weapons in their basement and in their house? You gonna tell me these parents didn't know what was going on? Of course they did. Of course they did. Let me look over here. I got a message from my. Let me make sure this is not a message from my YouTube folks here. Let me go over here to my. Right. All right, Calvin. Appreciate you. You say you're in the clouds. Thank you. No, folks. No, folks. Yeah, it is about time. No, I'm not. Again, I'm not. Like Shar said, it's a sermon. I'm not trying to preach. I'm just speaking reality. But it's about time that they hold these children's parents accountable for the shit that they do. He was 14 years old, so that means legally he could not go out and purchase that weapon. So what did his parents do? Even though there was issues before, the father went out and bought a weapon of mass destruction for his son. Yeah, I get what you're saying there, APT, but at least that is a valid critique. You know, at least that is valid. It's not because she'll lock you up. I don't give a damn what color you are. Yeah, she's separating families, but sometimes you got to separate them hooligans. No, but in this two, they can go ahead and keep them two together. They can put father and son in the same cell because they both in jail right now, right where they should be. I don't know why the mama ain't there yet. Go look for the uncle, too. Go look for some aunties because I know y'all visited over the holiday weekend. I know y'all know that y'all didn't talk. What do you mean you didn't talk to daddy into buy? Don't buy that boy no gun. I know that if that was a black family, that would have been the first thing. I wish the fuck you would. No, I ain't coming to your house no more. Nah, Junior got a gun. I wish the hell. I ain't coming there no more. So it's about time. You're absolutely right. It is about time that these parents are being held accountable for the shit and the carnage that their children cause. My thing is, and I don't care who says it, but some things need killing. Now, they was willing to shoot Philando Castile for reaching in his glove compartment. They was willing to shoot some kid in the back 7 times because he turned and walked away from the police. But y'all didn't shoot an active shooter? There's another active shooter going on right now. I don't know if they caught his ass yet. But y'all, we still got this kid. We're not talking about that police unalived him, as y'all like, as some folks like to say. He ain't dead after he murdered 4 people in cold blood. Y'all mean to tell me y'all could? Somebody didn't put one in him? Ain't shoot him in the leg or nothing? Y'all police slipping. Y'all ain't doing your job. Because if that was somebody that looked like me, I guarantee it. Guarantee it. We wouldn't have been running around. We wouldn't have been eating dinner at 6 o'clock when they serve meals at the jailhouse. Guarantee you that. It's funny though. Before I get out here, we're about to close this out, folks. But it's funny. This thing that they call mass shootings now. Notice how they tried to incorporate, as they say, black crime into these mass killings now, because I heard some news clips saying, well, the same mass shootings is going on in Chicago. No, it's not the same. In Chicago, you got dumb niggas killing dumb niggas. This motherfucker here in Georgia decided to get up out of his bed and kill people for absolutely no reason other than the fact that he didn't like them. Least them thugs in Chicago, least as they say, they got a valid reason. Nigga, you stole my drugs from me. You're selling, taking money out my turf. You're doing this, you're doing that. You're right. I'm sorry, but I got to call it out again. It's some of Taz's content. Is it good? It is. It has some value to it. I'll give him that. But you cannot discredit the amount of times I have heard this man curse out folks. Raw Talk, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's cursed you out before too for not being a supporter or supporting somebody else. Never understood that either. Because you see me in somebody else's chat room, or because I agree with somebody else said that you don't like, I'm supposed to be mad at them too. Let it make sense. Let it make sense. But anyway, folks, I don't have too much more to talk about over here again, other than that. You know, again, what they're going to do to us as black folks, divide and conquer. And if you're not careful, you'll fall into the trap of saying, yeah, Vice President Harris ain't black enough. Or you'll fall into the trap, saying, yeah, she did lock us up. Well, she ain't locked me up. I lived in California about that same time. She ain't locked me up. But then Donald Trump said, and to his own admission, he said, well, California used to be good 10, 15 years ago. Donald Trump, again, either you or your cronies don't know how to do their homework, because 10, 15 years ago, Gavin Newsom and Kamala Harris was running San Francisco. That's just the skinny of it, folks. But again, if you believe it, they will sell it to you. You know, a bag of shit. You know, a lie don't care who tell it. And a lie flourishes in the YouTube streets. That's why they don't like folks like me. That's why they don't like folks like Big J. That's why they don't like a lot of you women, because I always say, when y'all dumb yourself down on these panels, they like you. But as soon as you have a voice, or as soon as you disagree with them, all of a sudden, y'all ladies, excuse my language for this, but all of a sudden you're a bitch, you're a hoe, you coulda stink, something wrong with you, you're ugly, you're fat, ain't no man gonna want you. All the nastiness they can throw at you, all because either you don't want them or you don't agree with them. Ain't that some shit? Yeah, Again, they're I say it all the time. They're APT. Listen, go on Google DJ music. Eventually, you'll probably, well, I won't say eventually. I'm sure Google DJ music or classic R&B jams. Some vital information will come up about me. None of my personal information, but they always say, show your work. My work speaks for itself. You know, of course, I wish I had the listeners that a terrestrial station has, but I think I do pretty well for the radio station that I've created. I think I've done pretty well with the amount of listeners that myself and our other DJs and that we've garnered over the years, and I've done it in a pretty good amount of time. But you don't hear me running around bragging about my accomplishment. My work speaks for itself. But on the other hand, I want you to go ahead and Google Taz or Mr. Fantastic and tell me what the fuck comes up. I'm just saying. Or Angry Man. Google them 3 words. Google them 3 niggas. See what the fuck comes up. A joke, a caricature, a cartoon character. That's what shows up. Again, if anybody want to drop in this last couple of minutes here, I'm going to shut this down here in probably about another 5 minutes or so. You want to come up and give a shout out or whatever. But again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm on air tonight from 8 to 11 p.m. Classic R&B Jams Radio. Of course, the description is down in the box over there. Again, like I tell my audience, I will shout you out, but if I can't see everyone that's there because, you know, there's quite a few amount of countries that do listen from time to time. You know, but again, you can come over to the listening lounge. My good friend Char Willie's usually over there. A few of the other folks is usually in there, or you can tune in from all the different apps that we have. It says show your work. So I show my work, folks. You know, everything that you see that has to do with that radio station, I've created. I pay for. It's no bots. There's actual listeners there. The website, I created that with my own hands. When these folks talk about show your work, my work is in front of them. And all these other folks got is a YouTube stream that could be in the blink of an eye, and it's gone. That's right. We got. You can put GIFs in there. You can post pictures. You can twerk in the chat room. All kind of stuff in there. So it's a good time, folks. Tonight I'll be a little bit. I'll be playing music from the decade. So you never know what you're gonna hear. But again, the show starts at 8 o'clock. Let me know. Hit me up. I'll drop the link in a little bit later on in my community chat for those of you who want to tune in. Again, thank y'all so very much. I appreciate the time that you spent with me. You could have been anywhere in the last 2 hours, but you chose to listen to me here at Classic R&B Jams and the Chop Shop. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, had a great time. Thank you so very much. Let me say big shout out to Char Willie, 8PTV, the Queen, Raw Talk, and anybody else who's stopped on through. Big shout out to you all. And I'm not sure if you're going to listen to this, but Beachy, this beach is better. I have a clip, a stream that I only want to share with you, that I'm going to drop the link for you with. And I think it's kind of personal, some of the questions that you asked. So I'm going to answer them in a personal way. Now, if you want to put it out to the general public later on, that'll be up to you. But again, that's just my way of, sometimes you just can't put your business out to everybody. It'll just be my way of answering you back. All right. So that, folks, y'all be good, be safe, watch your 3, your 6, and your 9. Like I say, I'm a radio station. Say hello to someone. Might change the way they're thinking. Might change the way they're living. You never know. If you walk past them, don't say hello. Y'all be cool.